Investigates tonight is examining safety concerns with a popular handgun that's used by police that allegedly fires on its own without the trigger being pulled.
Like my demonstration, I want you guys. Alright. Is that a fucking 320?
Yep.
Alright. God damn it, dude. Get this gun off my range. Don't bring it back on the range. God damn. The video did so that we can see if we can make this thing fire. Okay. That made it fire, okay?
No, Sig Sauer will not go out of business because of this. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for NRA certification of multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. If you like channel, like content, and what I do here, you can support me with a link. Everything is appreciated. Online store is open. CGB20 will get you 20% off, free shipping. Connecticut residents, you got to pay that sales tax. I have no say in that matter, but CGB20 will get you 20% off. Take advantage. Let's talk about this, and this has been a huge story that is causing waves in the gun community. As a airman who was attached to U.S. Air Force's Global Strike Command was found dead in his domicile, and apparently they're saying that the SIG P320 that he uses, or the M18, excuse me, that he was using as part of his gear, did an uncommanded discharge, and it struck him center mass. He, of course, expired. Now there's an uproar among all military factions and certain federal departments to stop using the M18. Now, this has been an ongoing issue with SIG and the SIG P320 in general, as you have seen people posting videos claiming that the gun fires, whether the firearm is dropped.
Go ahead. Son of a bitch.
Or just discharges in a holster. This has been refuted by SIG repeatedly. Now, this is a big deal because SIG holds the contracts for not only the Air Force, but for ICE and for multiple law enforcement departments across the country. And since this incident, politicians have come out, especially one in Florida, demanding that their law enforcement stop using a firearm. I have handled SIG 320s. I've actually handled M18s. I have not had this issue, ever. So I cannot say one way or another. I'm not saying they're lying. I'm not saying they're telling the truth. I don't know. But this seems to be an ongoing problem, as there is an existing lawsuit that was started years ago by law enforcement officials concerning the SIG P320 and the fact that it was discharging while being holstered or while in a holster, and it would just fire. Now, SIG has responded, and this response comes July 23rd, 2025. He's right here. He says, "Our hearts are with the service members and families impacted by the recently reported event at F.E. Warren Air Force Base." Phil Strader, Vice President of Consumer Affairs at Sig Sauer, has told TWZ in a statement. "We have offered assistance to the U.S. military as they investigate the incident and remains willing to help in furtherance of their ongoing investigation." This is where he pushes the envelope a little. Strader also reiterated SIG's objections to the conclusion regarding the striker safety log on the recently disclosed FBI BRF report. This report was put together because the Michigan State Police had once again, uncommanded discharge, and the FBI, the ballistics department, stepped in and did a testing of this firearm. And this is where Strader with Sig Sauer has an issue with it. As I mentioned, the reason for this conclusion was a result of cutting a viewing window into the upside of the slide and thus removing all support material to help hold the striker's safety spring in place, he said. Even without this much needed support, the spring only shifted on the post and was still functional after repeated striking with a hammer. These conclusions were made without this understanding. Furthermore, the FBI was manually forcing the sear downward using a punch, similar to what was done by some less refined internet YouTube's testing, Strader added. The sear works in relationship to the trigger bar. The trigger bar is attached to the trigger. When the sear is pushed down, the trigger is being moved rearward. Essentially, the trigger is being pulled just by a different mechanism. We could most likely agree that forcing a downward movement of the sear would replicate or be equivalent to a drop with the grip module down, muzzle parallel to the ground, right? In at least 7 years, we have recorded 1,186 drops of various P320 models at 75, 90, and 105 degree angles, grip down orientations at the height of 6 feet directly on concrete with 0 failures, he continued. When the FBI retested this using a method that both the FBI and Sig Sauer agreed to, they attempted 565 forced downward movements of the sear over 19 different striker assemblies with 0 failures. Furthermore, when the Michigan State Police was presented with the FBI's supplemental report, they continued to field their M18 pistols and only purchased new weapon lights and holsters that would help mitigate larger light-bearing holster intrusions into the trigger guard, Strader noted. Strader also provided a response to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE decision regarding their issue of P320 pistols. ICE has also jumped on the bandwagon and said they are suspending use until further notice. Now, the U.S. Air Force Global Strike Command has suspended all use of the M18 until further review. That's where they stand right now. Now, of course, all across the internet, all the gun YouTube channels have different opinions on this matter. Some are saying that Sig Sauer is finished. Now, I don't know if they made that headline or tagline just to get the clicks. They're not finished because of this. This has happened over and over again. We have had manufacturers' firearms fail. This is nothing new. I've seen it before. When Ruger came out with his first semi-automatic, the SR9, what happened? They had a complete recall on it. As a matter of fact, the SR9, the LCP, and LCP2 all had recalls because of safety issues. All manufacturers have seen this. So Sig Sauer still makes a tremendous product. So I'm not going to go down the road of they're doomed, they're finished. They're going to take a hit. If this is proven that this gun is failing because of a manufacturing problem, they're going to take a hit. There's no doubt about it, but they're not out of business. The SIG 226 is still a phenomenal gun. They still make a ton of products that are phenomenal. But what I do find interesting is that Sig Sauer got the XM7, the M18, and for what I understand, the belt-fed contract with the military. That's a bit weird to me. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to go down conspiracy road. I just found that to be interesting that Sig Sauer got all 3 of these contracts with the military. But we will see what happens going forward. Of course, my condolences goes out to the family members and this airman who was killed. Now, the speculation of how it happened, in my opinion, he obviously took the gun, potentially the holster, off of his hip and laid it down and fired because he got hit center mass. If it was on his hip when it fired, logic tells you it would have hit his leg. But there's a good chance that it was laying, he laid it down, and it fired. Don't know, wasn't there, but that's what makes sense to me. But we shall see. There's going to be an investigation. And obviously, SIG's going to take the hit. Are they done? No. But they're going to take a hit. But we'll see as we go forward. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.